cinnamon twist. It's a sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me? That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you hear me?
Just share it on your page.
Okay. Oh, they have me right now.
Welcome to your girl Tasha. Okay,
Oh, wow.
we came on live, bro. We're just sitting here being quiet. It's Memorial Day, guys. First of all, I want to say thank you to our heroes and our sheroes that have served us and went into war to protect us as a country and as individuals. You know, happy Memorial Day to all of those people who have lost a loved one that has done your service to us. I'm here today in the studio with Miss Blegay.
Yes, Walla Blegay.
Okay, and she's in here, guys, to tell you about why she deserves your vote as running for Maryland delegate in District 25, which actually happens to be your girl Tasha's district.
All right.
So just tell the audience and the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. You know, I've been telling my story all over District 25 because many have actually seen my advocacy, but they have not known what my motivation is. So, as I've told many, my actual name, Walla, is what people call me. But Walla Kenwan means according to God's gift. And that was because I was a miracle baby. My parents could not have a child. My mom was told that she had a medical condition. She could not have a child. And then, you know, my parents got on their knees. You know, we got the old African folks that can just get and tarry and pray, and everybody got on their knees, and we actually were able to, my mom was able to have me. My parents are actually from Liberia and Nigeria, and during the time the Civil War broke out in Liberia, while my parents were here, and I was born here. But really watching the devastation of my family and many of the family friends that we had in Liberia go from living comfortably to not even having a toilet, you know, and having to live in a camp. That opened my eyes and my parents' eyes, and they said, well, we don't want what happened in Liberia to happen here. So
Right.
we need to get fully engaged and make a difference in your community, and you're our miracle baby, and you should do that. So that's really why I decided to really make a difference in our community. I grew up in D.C. originally. And in D.C. at that time, you know, Marion Barry was the mayor. We got involved with Marion Barry, helping him out, helping other elected officials out in Maryland and D.C. And I took my advocacy to Maryland. While I was at University of Maryland, I got involved with the NAACP, really trying to get young people engaged. And then what I did was I interned in Annapolis at that time, and that was in 2005. And I worked for a very young delegate at the time. His name is Justin Ross. He's actually no longer in office. He actually resigned, and now he's a lobbyist. But then he was like this young guy eager to make a difference. And he said, we don't have any young people here. I'm one of the few young people up here. And we need to get young people more engaged and just have them more involved in politics in Maryland in general. So that's what got me really going.
Okay, well, look, we got Joseph Tober checking in.
Oh,
saying,
that's my
hello,
union
Walla.
guy.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Yes. And actually, you know...
Union for the nurses?
Yes, I'm the attorney for the nurses union.
Wait a minute, he's the union for the nurses?
No, he is part of, he's a member of Unite Here 25.
Oh, okay. I knew he was a
Yeah.
union guy, but I didn't know he was a union guy there.
No,
okay.
So Unite, and then, you know, we're all brothers and sisters in the movement working together. I advocate for nurses because I care about working people. And it's just having someone like him, even his support, just goes to show that we are working together to make a difference. One of the reasons why I'm running is because of my union background. My union background started when I was in college. Actually, in college, I actually worked. I did a big project where I joined something called it was like a union summer program, and they sent us to Chicago to learn about the workers movement and about why workers can make a difference. And then I was sent to be an organizer in New York to organize the Met workers. And the Met workers, there were these workers that worked in New York in one of the richest. We look at the big fancy outfits that people go to the Met Gala. These celebrities, these celebrities, their one dress of a celebrity is a 6x600 of what those employees were getting paid altogether. You're talking they were getting $6.25 an hour to work, to leave the Bronx and Brooklyn to go all the way to the Met and get paid minimum wage. So we started organizing them and getting them together so to push them to actually advocate for themselves. But they were scared. And that happens in our community because people like this one guy was like, "Walla, I got to pay my bills. I mean, this is my third job and I cannot afford to lose that job. If I lose this job, I cannot feed my kids." And we told them, if you get active, if you really put your voices together, you could get paid double what you're getting paid now. But we lost that election, and what we saw was that management started to give them fake positions, like supervisory positions, still getting paid $6 an hour. Invited them to a Chanel event, things like that. That didn't make sense. And we were telling them, they're still paying you $6.25.
They just gave you a new title.
They just gave you a new title. And that was actually what I found, is that by them not actually opening their voices to make a difference, it had an impact on them, because now they're still going to be having to work 2, 3, 4 jobs to pay their bills when they could have joined the union and had to maybe work one job.
Wow, okay. We have Tico from Chicago, another union member, checking in, saying, "Hey, ladies," things like that. Just want to do a reminder to you guys that we want you to share and invite. We know that it's Memorial Day. We know people out there eating their hot dogs and their hamburgers and things like that, but hopefully they are still tuning in, and we want to make sure that this information gets out, because people have to be educated voters. As you know, our election is right around the corner. It's going to happen on June 26th, and we have early voting that's going to be taking place from June 14th to June 21st. So you got to be educated about who you have running as your candidates. We have a comment saying that you are definitely for working families, and we can already tell that from you speaking, Walla. I want you to explain to our viewers. You kind of touched base on it a little bit, but go into details. Why are you running for delegate in District 25?
Well, I'm running to really bring true advocacy to District 25. Unfortunately, I've knocked on over 800 doors in District 25, and what we found is that people are just not engaged because they have not heard from their elected officials in a very long time. I started my show. I have a show, Chat with the Lawyer. And Chat with the Lawyer was founded because in my community advocacy, many people came to me and said that they needed lawyers because they didn't know their rights. So we started that in order to make sure that they understood and knew their rights. And what we found was that people were frustrated with the systems in Prince George's County. One of the biggest projects we worked on and helped families was that we had a mother who was at the District Heights Elementary School. And at the time, there was mold in the school, right? And you'll find that even the principal saw mold in the school. And it was brought to the attention of the school system. They did nothing. For years, all of a sudden, the employees got really sick. And employees started sending letters to the state and throughout asking them to, do something. And still nothing was done. All of a sudden, the kids started getting sick. People got outraged. I started getting calls from parents saying, "We need lawyers because no one's listening to us." So they called Channel 7. Now, when they first came out, of course, we went to a meeting where elected officials came in. Well, not elected officials. The elected officials were like, "Well, we all need to work together," but nobody's willing. Like you have the power to make a difference. So then they did that. Now we had officials come in and tell us that there was no mold in the school, but they knew there was mold. There were pictures that showed you could see the mold. So we just started connecting these people with lawyers, because we decided enough was enough. And the thing about it is that it shouldn't, to get response from your elected officials, from people around you, you shouldn't have to call a lawyer. if frankly, to be honest, a lot of the things that people have reached out to us are things that could be handled by the system, but the system just isn't working for them. So when there was an opening, Senator Curry decided he wasn't running for re-election. Delegate Angel's running for Senate, and I decided to put my name in. Now, I would tell you this. I'm running against the establishment. It is not easy for us. But you know what? It was the best thing to happen, because now I can tell you that we're getting elected by the people. No developer, no corporate interest can actually say we got you in. And one of the things that allows us to do is really take message to the people and say, look, when I get in, no one delegate can say, look, we got you in, you got to follow me. No, that's not going to happen, because I am accountable to the people.
Okay. So tell us, what boundaries is included within District 25?
Okay, so we have Capitol Heights, not the incorporated city, but outside the incorporated city. We have District Heights. We have Forestville, all of Forestville, most of Largo, some parts of Largo. The Kettering part is in District 25. The Perrywood community, all down 202. Then you go to 214. That's on the Capitol Heights near Ritchie Road. That's 25. Down to Clinton. So we're in Clinton, Dangerfield, off of Woodyard Road. The northern part of Woodyard Road, which will be considered North Clinton, is in District 25, and parts of that include some of Camp Springs. And then we have some of Temple Hill. So off of St. Barnabas Road, parts of that is in District 25 also.
Okay, so you're a little bit different than a lot of the other guests that I've came on here, because actually out of everyone that I've had on my show, going back to almost February, you're the first candidate that's actually in my district. Yeah. Okay, other than Aisha Briggs, she's across the state. But you're the first candidate that's in my district. So I'm really interested in what you have to say. I see on here already that Joseph is asking the same question. One of the questions that I want to ask you about regarding PG County schools.
Good.
Okay, and what your thoughts are about Prince George's County schools. Okay, particularly I want to know your opinion on HB 1107. A lot of people want to know about the ability, if you get into office, what are you going to do to put the schools back under control of the residents? Because right now, since they're appointing these people, we don't have the loyalty of the Prince George's County leaders is to the politicians. Right. It should be to the residents, to the people who have the children in the school. Now, my last one is graduating on June the 4th. Aww. I don't have no more to come through Prince George's County, but I still care about my baby. So what is your opinion on that, and what do you see as the problems, and how do you plan to rectify them when it comes to Prince George's County schools?
So I want to start from the back, because I remember when Rashawn Baker came to, I was on the NAACP then, and asked for people to support this hybrid school board. And one of the bigger issues that he stated was that at this point, the makeup of the board did not have any experts on this. So you had a bunch of school board members that were not very well informed, that were making decisions. They needed some more experts in there. He was going to make sure to appoint experts. But what has happened, and of course we have been warned then by many on the board, had expressed concerns that this would take some control out of the hands of the people. But because of the way the school board was at that time,
a lot of the control out of the hands of
right.
people.
Well, it turned out to be more than anticipated, because what was happening at that time, they just made it seem like you were just going to have these people on the board that were going to provide some expertise. But what ended up happening is that the actual appointed board members do not see themselves as just acting as board members, holding apart the top officials accountable. They almost act as if they're a part of the administration itself. Which has caused the bigger problem, because if you as an appointed board member feel that you should owe something to your county executive in order to actually function, like make sure that the any type of function that you have, at this point the appointed board members are acting like they're part of the administration. Which is counterproductive, right? Because now you have a school board. I remember even one of the things I was like laughing in my head, like, some of these board members do not understand their role. As soon as the report came out about the graduation rates, a lot of the appointed school board members, the first thing that they put up was almost this fake statement that there was no overall problem in the school system when it came to graduation rates, despite the fact that the actual report showed that there were problems. Maybe not overreaching problems, but there were problems. Now, a normal school board member's job was to say, there's problems, we need to find out more information. But instead, they were already giving out a statement, almost as if it had been fed to them, to say that there was no problem.
At least say you're going to investigate it.
Right. That's what a school...
They defended it from the start.
From the start.
There was no fact-finding whatsoever.
Right. And that is the biggest problem. We have to go to a fully elected school board. I mean, that is the first step. Because at this point, the problem is that even the chair of the school board, that's actually the worst of it, is that the chair of the school board is appointed. So at this point, the person that's in charge, the person that speaks at almost every board meeting, that speaks on behalf of the school board, is at this point in the hands of the CEO and the county executive. That is essentially a problem. And he doesn't feel, and they're boldly such, that they feel empowered to do it because they have no laws. At the end of the day, even if we vote, we go after the other school board members.
How about elect the CEO?
I mean, at this point, the CEO should be picked by the school board. And also, but here's the thing. First of all, what we can say, now there are critics that actually say this, and I do agree with it. Whether elected or appointed, we still have problems with the school system. But we do need an fully elected board, but we need other process in place. One of the things I've even told community members, what is the outcomes of our schools? Nobody knows. We're not, in fact, when you actually want to actually get the actual outcomes of the schools, you have to actually hire someone if you really wanted to know, to really fully get it. Because if you actually go and you have to do a FOIA request, you can go online and kind of look at something at the state school board level, but it is very difficult to find. And let me tell you, I had an education event in January, and Dr. Thornton was the main speaker there. And one of the things he said was, for every school, there's a master plan. Do you know the master plan of your local school?
Absolutely
Because
not.
we've never seen it. In fact, even representatives of the NAACP, this Prince George's County chapter, said they've asked for some master plans and they haven't even got it back from the CEO. So that just goes to show, at this point, these CEOs should be sent to our house. We should be able to see what is the grand master plan for the local schools in our area and what are they planning to do it. And no more propaganda, because we did receive not too long ago some school propaganda. We want something that has real numbers, nothing that poofs it up as if it is something that it's not. So we need to focus on that. That's one of the things. Now, school governance is one of the main things, especially as a state representative, that I'm going to focus on. But we can do beyond that.
So how are you gonna push bringing back the transparency and shifting the control back into the residents?
Well, we would remove 1107. We would make sure that that it is
repeal 1107.
Yes, I mean that is clear. That is clear. That is beyond. That is not even non-negotiable. It's removed, and we need to put other processes in place. Now, I do understand if people feel that there needs to be more experts advising the school board, we could set up advisory boards to do that. Those people would have to report to the school board, the elected school board members, but not have the decision to actually take away the control of the elected school board members. So if you need an advisory board that has budget or education experience, you could just have them advise the school board, and they can do that in that role, but they shouldn't be able to take away the actual board's role in actually holding the top officials accountable.
Well, I agree with that.
So we're not, but that's not it. Now, one of the other things is teacher pay. Teacher pay, school administrator pay is the lowest in the area. I got a call from a teacher a couple weeks ago who was saying, because I've known her for a while, and she says, "Look, Walla, I love my school system. She actually lives in Upper Marlboro, but I'm going to move to DC and work because I get paid $25,000 more." Now, if we continue that, we're going to have an entire school system that's just a training ground. And actually, if you look at the actual numbers, all of the school, when you start in Montgomery, Prince George's, even DC, you're starting around the same salary. But the difference is that the Prince George's County moves up slower.
Right.
Than the surrounding jurisdictions, and then to a certain extent it gets to the point that they start to trickle behind more and more, and by the time you're 10 or 15 years out, you're getting paid $15,000 to $20,000 or even more less than surrounding jurisdictions. Most people are not going to stay there, and they're going to move to other jurisdictions. And I have a lot of people who are looking at the DC and the Montgomery County school systems to make more money. Now, that's unfortunate because we're losing top talent. We probably have, if you're a good teacher that has a lot of accolades and people could appreciate your work,
a lot of people, some people are dedicated and they say, I'm going to stay in Prince George's County no matter what. But it's only but so much someone can take before they can say, I need to help, I need to feed my family, I need to take care of my kids, I'm going to go to the surrounding jurisdiction, make some more money so that I can take care of my family. So that's something we need to focus on. And I have been endorsed by the teachers union. That's why, because I am a workers' rights advocate. And I do believe that a happy worker is a better environment for everyone. We all gain if the school system does better. So exactly. I'm definitely going to focus in on that, making sure. Now, another thing in the school system is that if you want to make more money in the school system, you have to actually leave the classroom. That is a problem, because what you find is top administrators get really good, decent pay. And if you're not a top administrator, you will stay on the lower scale. We need to create a track where a school teacher gets paid to stay in the classroom, more money to be in the classroom, because that's what
there's supposed to be a whole bunch of money out there that people in the group is pointing out, because all the money from the casinos. There's supposed to be a lot of money out there, so they should be getting paid real well, Waller.
Let's go over the casino. So, in the past year, the MGM has gotten $179 million. The school system got $38 million. Now that's the school. That's the state school. Now the money that went to the state was $38 million. Guess how much Prince George's County got?
How much was Prince George's County? I know
around
it's
14. 14 million.
But
14.
But MGM is in Prince George's County.
Exactly. So what happened was, the trick was that the money went into a general pot. Now, we got tricked because when we voted for question 7, and then this woman said it a couple years ago. This woman said, we're about to pay more taxes. Y'all told us to vote for question 7. If we voted for question 7, we will get more money in the school system. We voted for it, and we still got to pay more taxes. That's because when you only get $14 million in a $1 billion budget, it's not very much. And the reality is that most of the money went to a general pot, and now we're giving a lot of money to Hartford County, Frederick County, Montgomery County. Montgomery County is getting more money than, from their people so we're giving money to other people. Now they keep talking about the lockbox, because they have the lockbox, which keeps the money in.
Right.
But the money, that just keeps the money in a general fund. That doesn't mean that Prince George's County gets any more money. And now the trick about it, there's always a little trick. The lockbox is not implemented until 2020. So
how locked is it, huh?
Right, right. So if you want to raid the pot now, you can raid the pot between now and 2019, 2020. They might not have much there. But the point is that we need more accountability, because the reality is that we got played. We got played because we got 14 million coming to the school. Now that's what I was reported from talking to school board members and looking at some of the budget. That's how much we got. So that's not very much of anything. We need to go back, and that's why when people look at this county executive race now, for the state, we can't negotiate how much. We can actually look at probably putting something else in, but they can actually renegotiate. A county executive needs to come back and renegotiate and ask, we need more money, because at this point, and if we don't get more money from that, we need to act and put a bill forward to get more money. Because at this point, we're giving more money to other jurisdictions that have better school systems and frankly got more money going into their school system than we do.
One of the comments said we are next to the last in the whole goddamn state.
23 out of 24. No, but that's really true. It's 23 out of 24. So we're at the bottom. And I mean, I could tell you this because I know as some school board members that are trying to protect their seats are going to say, well, we're not that number is not right. We are number 12. No, we have to be real with ourselves.
Right.
We know what the outcomes are, and frankly, so do the people that live in Prince George's County, which is why a lot of them have their kids in public schools for those that can afford it. It's not fair.
All right. So we talked about wages of the teachers. Let's talk about wages as a whole across the county. When it comes to minimum wage, you have some of your current incumbents are pushing that they do not believe that cities and or states should be able to have the option to establish their own minimum wage.
Now that bill failed. That bill failed in 2017 because we spoke out.
It failed, but they'll bring it back.
They can't. I mean, we spoke out. We said no more of that. And the reason why we said that was because, frankly, we're living in Prince George's County. You know, one of the biggest issue is affordable housing. If you live and now my dad lived in District Heights. When he came here in 2008, when he first moved to District Heights, he was paying $800 a month at for an apartment. Now he's paying now that same apartment is about 12 to 1300. It's doubled. And that's
Probably
what's
more
going
than that.
right. And then that's only for one bedroom. So if you have something else, it's like 15. But my point is that has doubled, but our minimum wage hasn't doubled. And what we're finding is that people who could live in certain parts of the district can no longer live here. And that is becoming a really big issue. I even went to a union interview where a woman pulled me aside and said, I need a lawyer because I'm about to be put out of my apartment because I can't afford it anymore, a place that I've been living in for 5 years with my family. The reality is that if we do not increase the minimum wage in our area, we are going to be pushing a lot of people out. Homelessness is a big issue in our county. And frankly, some of those people that are getting minimum wage, believe it or not, is our seniors. Our seniors are getting that, and one of the things, a senior called me crying 3 weeks ago because she's living in a place, she gets $1,200 for Social Security, $900 she has to pay. That's affordable senior home was $939. So how much does she have for food and any type of necessities for the end of the year? $200 and some change. So now she's going to go down the street to Rose's to get a job where she's going to be getting minimum wage to be able to pay her bills. She needs more money. And the reality is that if we do not take this seriously, we're going to be looking at people living in our streets. This is not something that Maryland or even Prince George's County is accustomed to, but we're going to start seeing it unless we do something about the minimum wage.
Homelessness.
It is a really big issue because the reality is that in our area, when DC is there's continuous development in DC. And as we continue the development, there's no way that we're going to continue that development and not have the impact in the surrounding jurisdiction. District 25 happens to border a lot of the southeast DC, all of that which is getting revamped right now. I mean, you wait till they finish with Berry Farms and all of those places. Right. Those places are off Suitland Parkway. Down the street, you drive down from Berry Farms, you're right in Suitland.
Right.
So, and reality is that those are the apartment buildings. As people from DC move, it's happening in District Heights. They have a apartment complex where people are complaining of the people standing outside, hanging out, and all that stuff. And that's because that's the culture of DC. I know that culture. You know, that people just hang out and sit down and just talk. People don't want that anymore. So guess what they're gonna start doing? Raising the rent. And when they start raising the rent, those people are not going to be able to afford to live anymore, and they're going to have to move somewhere else. And you think they're going to drive down to Charles County? No, they're going to end up on our streets.
But you know what? I've had a lot of Charles County candidates on here. I'm shocked to know they have a huge homelessness program. They have a couple of tent cities actually in Charles County too.
That's very interesting.
Hanging with your girl Tasha. Who do we have calling in?
It's Joseph Tover. How y'all ladies doing?
Hey.
Hello, Joseph. You have a question for Ms. Waller?
Okay, real quick, Waller. In terms of the Public Service Commission denying this to certain offenses, like for felons, what could we do about that legislatively? Because Uber and Lyft is now terminating contracts with brothers who have criminal records.
So what we need to do, the reality is that, and I'm going to say because I am a lawyer, I have some, I have this knowledge of what you can do, what you can implement on businesses from a state level, even from any government actor. There's only but so much you can do to limit. Like if you say you must hire someone, now they're going to say, well, there is that's a limitation on us being able to run our business. So they're going to have there's going to be constitutional filings on that. But what we could do is that we could, first of all, ban the boxes is not perfect, but it helps. But what we could do is give substantial incentives for people to hire those felons, those that have the certain records. And then we could also increase expungements, because to be honest, you won't know that they were a felon if they could expunge their records. So we need to increase expungement. But what we need in this area, we really, really need to make sure that we provide substantial tax incentives. Because frankly, if someone sees, it's about what people want. When solar energy came in, their tax incentives were massive. And what happened, that is why people jumped in and started investing in solar, and a lot of these, the environmental incentives, people jumped at it because it was substantial, and that's because of, frankly, that lobby was very, very, very aggressive in making sure. They said, look, this is the wave of the future, you need to fully invest. Now what we need to do is push that same, now it's not an investment, but what we can say is like, look, if you want substantial tax incentives, you need to hire our returning citizens, and that way we will push businesses to do so that we can actually help our community, because frankly that is actually the biggest way to help, especially the African American community. If we give businesses substantial tax incentives that they can hire those returning citizens, it would really, because right now they're not able to get it's not just Uber, it's we talk about government jobs. Most of the federal government jobs have a lot, they have these high, background checks. And basically you can't get into defense, you can't get to a lot of things if you have anything, a brush on your record. I was on the board of Training Source, and Training Source, we were actually training people to get into the workforce, and what we found was that half of the jobs, even like jobs where you were greeting people, they would require that you couldn't have anything on your record. So we can expand expungements, and of course that's a political fight too, because victims start getting active and saying, I don't want this person not to be able to show that they have done this. Now we can do that, but we also need to we can do both. Expand the expungements, and also we can provide great tax incentives, not small ones, not little ones, because it's got to be worth the money.
We thank you for calling in, Joseph. So do you have any other ideas about criminal justice reform? Because I was going to ask questions about that, your opinions on criminal justice reform. Is there anything else that...
And, one of the things that they worked on quite a bit in this, and they didn't even really do very much, but there was a big discussion on bail reform. And that's something, it's so interesting. DC has been very, very progressive on very issues that Maryland just hasn't. We need to get into zero bail. That's what we need to get into, because what we find is that a lot of, especially low-income citizens, are not able to actually get anything done in preparation for trial, because they're stuck in jail. And then a lot of times they have to get bail and do all that in order, putting their family in substantial financial situation. So what we need to do is make sure that we focus on bail reform. I also frankly want to look back at the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights, because it's still one of the strongest in the United States, and what we need to do is make sure that people can hold their public safety officials accountable.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we got to take care of those sponsors, so we're going to go ahead and break to a short commercial, and we'll see you on the flip side.
You spend a total of 3 years of your life on the toilet, with an unavoidable portion of that in a public restroom. Public restrooms are notoriously intimidating, often missing stuff you need the most. And let's not talk about the bacteria and germs, even if the restroom looks clean. Germs spread when you flush the toilet. There's contaminated toilet paper, germy sinks, and blow dryers. It's a jungle of germs in there. But sometimes you really have to go. So you have to do this, and 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 even this. And ladies, you're twice as likely to encounter harmful germs. You know you're going to have to go again. So protect your bottom with the Restroom Kit, a convenient and discreet package containing the most essential products to help you stay protected in an inadequate or unsanitary restroom. It's guaranteed to have what you need: toilet paper, tush wipe, hand wipe, and a patented oversized toilet seat cover, pre-sealed and individually wrapped for on-the-go convenience. Designed with your whole family in mind, the restroom kit works when you need it the most and gives you confidence and cleanliness wherever you go. Take the worry out of using a public restroom and protect your bottom with the restroom kit. Find us on Facebook or visit www.therestroomkit.com.
The thing.
Welcome back to Hanging with your girl Tasha. Again in the studio today, we have Miss Walla Blegay. She's running for District 25, Maryland State Delegate. And if you are just tuning in, you got to make sure that you catch the replay and look at the beginning of this and hear about the platform that she's running on and the great things that she has. And we want to make sure that you guys take the opportunity now to share and invite. And if you want to call in with any questions for Miss Walla, you can reach us on 301-429-9247. Okay, so we've touched base on education. We've touched base on criminal justice reforms. What's your opinion? Let's get into some safety issues, particularly gun control.
Well, I am one of those that has been I have witnessed gun shooting. Starting from when I was a child, my dad was on the ice cream truck, and we were attacked by gunpoint, by someone that ran, put the gun through the truck, came in, took my mom's bag, and ran off. And then I was older in high school. I've witnessed. I was out in the street and witnessed someone get shot and right in front of me, killed.
Wow.
That has had a substantial impact on me. I am a huge advocate of gun control, and actually when I've knocked throughout District 25, I've actually met NRA members who have said that they would like to, make sure that they protect their Second Amendment right. But, and this is very interesting, regardless of the fact that they've said that, they've always told me that they were for gun control. They were for making sure that certain individuals did not have access to guns. And frankly, I appreciate that, because that goes against what we've assumed, what we've been sort of advertised to assume in national media, that all NRA members are anti-gun control. That's simply just not true. And I find that in District 25, we have gun owners who are out hunting, who own their guns and still would like gun control. We need it. We need to protect our kids. There's a woman that lives in District 25 who her daughter was killed from senseless violence. And the reality, especially in our community, it's not even just about those who have registered, who registered owners killing people. It's about the illegal guns that are getting in our neighborhood. And it starts with a legal owner just being able to have easy access to guns.
Right.
And what they're doing is that they're selling the guns into the communities, and then someone gets it and uses it and kills and destroys someone's life. So this is something that has been a critical issue, and I do believe strongly a ban of assault weapons, any weapons that we know that it's simply protect yourself and your family. You do not need a military weapon. You simply just do not. I've lived 34 years, 33. I keep aging myself. I'm about to turn 34. I've really, even in the midst of gun violence, to the point that I don't really need a military rifle to protect myself, and neither do you. So we really need to make sure that we are, it's really just about making sure that that certain people do not have access to guns, because if we do not address this issue, we are going to have more gun violence in our neighborhoods and have our children it is just unfortunate to lose our children for senseless gun violence.
Exactly. I can definitely, I have not been a victim of gun violence. Mm-hmm. I have not lost a child, okay, or a family member. And but I can relate to it, because recently, actually, I've started providing a platform for a group of mothers who have all lost their children. Now, not everyone has lost their child because of gun violence. Some it's been natural causes and different things that went on. But the bottom line, I have one lady who's going to be on the show, I think it's like the first Monday in July, who's going to be talking about how her child,
daughter,
her son.
Okay, because I thought it was the woman that I know. Okay.
Yeah, her son was killed due to gun violence, and unfortunately, I'm gonna let her tell her story. It's like they didn't even get to take the court case. There was a twist to it. So we'll be sharing that. So something has to be done, because people are hurting. We have Joseph also. He's back on. He's making a comment about holding the gun owners accountable if they fail to lock up their guns. You know,
I could not agree more. One of the things I have a concern with, of course, if there is an issue with Second Amendment rights, but then there's something that we control. What if somebody is just buying a lot of guns? They're not a gun shop owner, but they're just buying a lot of guns. At one point, you have to actually ask the question, what is the purpose?
Exactly.
Now, and that is something that the state can control. Of course, there are limitations with your Second Amendment right. Now, they can't just tell the person you can't buy any guns. But if somebody is buying 50 guns, what are they doing with it?
There's a question there.
And there's something that we need to actually start looking at, those that are actually doing their own sale, because frankly, you shouldn't be, if you're buying a lot of guns, at one point someone's going to ask if you needed to protect, are you protecting yourself with 50 guns, or are you circulating it and selling it in a way without a license, and then getting it into the point that it gets into the wrong hands and then someone is killed. So we need to make sure that those people are held accountable, and questions need to be asked. It shouldn't, like, the joke that we have, of course, you see the memes about this online about how you can, if you want to get certain medications, you have limitations at the store, but if you want to buy 100 guns, you can do it. At this point, there should be a limitation in that, because that is one of the problems. If you go, one of the reasons why I witnessed so much violence is growing up in Southeast DC. A lot of these kids have guns all day long. Like these 12, 13-year-old boys, 16-year-old boys got guns. They got multiple guns. How they get them? Somebody's out there selling guns illegally and getting it out there that is easily that we can make, that young kids can get them easy.
And then
you got to make it harder.
And then you have to worry about the shootings in the schools and
right.
everything else that's going on because of it. Absolutely.
Well, can I talk about small businesses? I wanted to.
The economy.
Yeah, and I wanted to focus in on that because, I've been telling this story, but this is a story that I've heard from multiple business owners. The reality in Prince George's County, unfortunately, unlike DC, there is the transparency and accountability is a huge issue in Prince George's County. Business owners, now, a lot of the business, if you look at the business in Prince George's County, even go down the street, you see a lot of franchises, right? And then you have some brick and mortar that is probably, some local person, but it's a lot of franchises. And there is a reason why. It's done by design. Now, I would tell you a story of a business owner. There's a woman who's a business owner. Actually, she opened up her shop not too long ago. But she wanted to open up a nice art gallery. She wanted to do it in Prince George's County because she felt very strongly that she wanted this in her neighborhood. She lives in Prince George's County. She went to all of the commercial...
Are you talking about Annie's?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because Annie's closed. You know that, right?
No.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah. So she went throughout Prince George's County, started looking for a place, and she had such a hard time getting a location because all of them would say that she didn't have enough capital. She didn't have this. She didn't have that. That's the same thing. And there's a theme of this because this is the same thing that happened in MGM. So they went along those lines saying all of these things. And she had a very dedicated representative that went around just aggressive. And after 3 years, she was able to get her location. She opened up a beautiful art gallery, overdue recognition, in Bowie. That's just beautiful. Now, a lot of people are hosting events there. It's absolutely gorgeous. But here's the thing. This woman wanted to do something in her community, and look at the runaround that she got. What she was told is that people wanted franchise. And the reality is that that's the biggest problem with Prince George's County. We got franchise all over this place. Not another franchise, because frankly, nobody is going to drive to Prince George's County for a franchise. Right. It's not that's not the development. And then you see franchise everywhere, and then people call the development in this county that it just doesn't fit what they want, and they go to Virginia and other places. Well, sometimes you can't blame folks because they're going where they can find something different. We have very unique business owners here that live in our community that have very unique ideas. You go to some of these events where you have tables of people with very unique things that you're like, I would love to see a store that had this, but we don't invest in that. And that's unfortunate because part of the reason why they looked at her and her husband that way is basically racism, right? They saw two black owners. They probably thought maybe they can't pay their bills in a couple months. But unfortunately, she has owned a business before, and she's doing a great job right now. But I had another friend who wanted to open up a co-work space because she wanted to do it in the suburbs, because you have a co-work space everywhere in DC. She wanted in the suburbs to serve a certain community. She alone, it took her a couple years to get it. But the reality is that those are the business owners that we need to focus on.
So what can we do to change that?
Well, one we need to do is make sure that our commercial development, we can create laws and incentives that make sure that our commercial developers know that Prince George's residents come first. And if you don't get a certain percentage of them, that, none of this good faith, that's the language that they had in the contract for MGM, good faith effort. But good faith effort allows them to say, look, we sat down, we look at applications, the applications don't look right, we're just going in another direction. But what we need to do is say, it doesn't matter, you have to give them 30% of your business in this in this commercial development has to be Prince George's County residents.
Right.
You take it or leave it.
I think about it. I can't remember the actual thing, but I had went to a legislative thing where their topic was about the Maryland lottery and the utilization of printers within the state, and how they contract out all of those lottery tickets that people are buying every day. That paper, the printing of that was contracted out outside of the state.
What?
Yeah.
And you got a print shop in every corner here.
Right. And you got print shops closing up every day.
Right.
Because of this. But they was going outside the state, and I was just like floored there. I don't remember the outcome. I don't know. I think they was going to table it and have to go back to it. But I'm curious about what's going on with that, because that could be so much money.
And you know what? The truth is, in District 25, we're about to have a big development. They keep talking about the hospital. So we're going to have all of that. The hospital's going to come, and there's going to be downtown Largo. How many business owners have been put on notice of this opportunity that they can get involved with it? Because we have outside businesses that are already in on this.
Right.
And reality is that the process is even difficult for a business owner. One woman was telling me she has to hire somebody to navigate this process. In other places, you don't have to do that. The process is very transparent and clear. We need to make sure that we provide incentives and force business owners to have to accept our people. Frankly, we don't have to sell ourselves so cheap. If they don't want to do it, take your business elsewhere, because we will have other people that will come and actually focus on the local business owners here.
That's right. Some will, some won't. So what next?
Right.
That's something we say in the home business industry.
Right.
It can apply right there too.
Right.
You don't want to do it, that's all right.
Right.
This is the requirements, and that's it.
Now, I saw another comment from, I think it was Joseph, about mental health in schools. Mental health, and I really want to actually go into that, because one of the models that has been pushed by the teachers union, and I'm fully adopted and in supporting it, is community schools. And this is something what you find is that in certain areas, one of the biggest problems I have with the school system is the one-size-fit-all model. That every school, you can do the same thing. Put children in a building. Then you have some individuals that are a social worker and this and that, and that should solve the problem. Right. The problem is that some areas need more. And I know that Rebecca has the TNI for Transforming Neighborhood Initiatives, but it's not really going into the actual schools. So community schools brings wraparound services into the school. One of the bigger problems, there's something that's different in DC that's not, that doesn't make sense in Prince George's County. If you need services like benefits and even mental health issues and all that, these parents have to go from one place to another. Now, a lot of the programs they need, things that they need, they got to go all the way down to Upper Marlboro, down to near the county administration building to get services, and then they have to go here and there. So one of the things,
one-stop
shop, and make it easier, because unfortunately, especially for even some of our seniors, some of them don't drive, right? And then they have to complain. That's why they keep complaining about the bus. The bus is not getting them everywhere they go. But if we have more walkable communities and easier access to service by making it easier for people to get access to, it would make it better. And we could do that with community schools. We can make sure we put more money into mental health, make sure that we have the proper staff in each school to address this issue, make sure that the benefits that they need, the doctor visits that they need are right in the school, so we can help, so we can brings the parent into the schoolhouse and keeps them there. So then that way, and that's honestly, a lot of it is like making sure that the parent gets more involved. How can you get them more? What better way to get them involved by putting them in the school and putting all the resources they need right in the school building?
Exactly. Now we got a little bit of a delay, I think, because we just had a comment that popped up from Ms. Vanessa Ocon. I think that I'm pronouncing that right, ma'am. She says, it's unfortunate that Prince George's County doesn't have the same support as other counties in Maryland. Small boutique stores thrive in Montgomery County. Why isn't it thriving here? Clearly, we have a lack of investment in our business community, which needs to be changed.
And part of that, like I said, a lot of these things go straight to racism. In Montgomery County, look at the type of business owners that they have there. Not all of them look like us. So then they have a different respect. Even the communities that when the commercial developers get there, they treat those people different.
Right.
And that's something that we're not having here. Because the commercial developers and those that come in, they don't look at our people the same. They think that we're just, maybe don't have any money, can't pay our bills, that type of thing. But frankly, that's not for them to, of course, at this point, the government needs to be clear. It is what it is. You have to support these small businesses, and we're going to help them. Now, they do have an economic development program, but I mean, some of the things that I'm seeing is like, is this just for Facebook and for pictures, or are you just going to have something provide like somebody was like, for IT, for people with IT and all that, there's certain certifications that would help them and help them grow. Like, why don't we put that in the county so that we can make sure that to support them? Because really, people are complaining about taxes here. Why? Because they're not getting their money's worth. And if they did get their money's worth, they wouldn't complain as much. But frankly, that's why 2-day, some people in certain parts of the county are like, why does everyone want 2-day trash pickup? Because somebody feels like, okay, I'm in a place where I can't take my kid to the public school. I have to pay an additional tax basically by paying for private school. And now, so what am I getting from my government? I can't go to the school.
And I don't want the daggone magnets.
Right.
I don't want them white worms all over the place. I want 2-day, I want 3-day trash pickup.
Right. So the little that they can get is to be like, I want to make sure that at least I get an actual clean street. Just give me that. If I can't get the school stuff, if I can't get all the other stuff, at least I get a clean street.
All right. Now, with today being Memorial Day, I could only think that one of the community issues is definitely our veterans. What's your position on our veterans?
And you know what? We definitely need to provide more support for our veterans. I believe that what we have done is rely too heavily on the federal government to kind of pay that bill. The problem with that is that we have a higher number of veterans in this area, even in Prince George's County, than we have in other states or even jurisdictions throughout the state of Maryland because of our location and how close we are to the military, especially like Department of Defense. So what we need to do is that make sure that first of all, our veterans can easily get the support they need when it comes to medications, when it comes to doctor medical bills, and we shouldn't just rely on the Veterans Administration. We can actually fund that. We can do that. We can make sure that our veterans can easily get jobs here. We can assist them with job placement, assist them with businesses so that they can get that support. But frankly, we can also make sure, because they've given to us, we should give to them, lower their taxes, make sure that they're, the taxing of retirement, the taxing of all that isn't so high in Prince George's County so that they feel comfortable to live here. Because frankly, I'm finding veterans who are retiring and they say that the taxes are so high here for their retirement that they're moving to other states. In fact, this woman was listing other states that she can move into and get a tax break. So we need to focus in on that.
Okay. And I'm looking at the time. Let's talk about healthcare.
Healthcare is, I am very dedicated. I represent nurses. So healthcare is something that I really deeply care about. The top thing that I'm going to focus in on is that we cannot continue to rely again on the federal government to fulfill the goal, because it's not fulfilling it. First of all, when it comes to our seniors, one of the biggest issues is Part D is going to cover less. In fact, both Medicaid and Medicare is going to cover less over time, because frankly, they're paying so low that most doctors don't want to give. They didn't want Medicaid, now they're not taking Medicare. And the prescriptions, a lot of our seniors are required to pay more out of pocket. So what we need to do is provide the supplement. The best way to handle it, the ideal way, is a single payer program. Because a single payer program, even on a state level, can provide the support that many need to supplement what the federal government is not giving. It allows that they can actually, at this point, our system allows people their healthcare benefits control what type of healthcare that they get, depending on their insurance. So if you have Medicaid, there's certain doctors that you can see. There's certain doctors you will never be able to see unless you pay out of your pocket. If you have Medicare, there's certain, the same thing. Even Blue Cross, even different. In fact, when you change jobs, a lot of times what you find when people change jobs, their Medicare their medical benefits have to change. Their doctors have to change. We need to stop that. We need a one program, and single payer would allow that somebody can actually see the same doctor no matter where they go, whether it's the job, whether they're on Medicare, whether they have the various programs, because it would provide the support that's needed. So I'm going to focus in on that, but really we need to focus in for right now until we get the single payer pass. We need to focus on prescriptions, because that is the biggest cost driver. Because at this point, when someone needs medication, they pay the biggest payout. It's not just it's copay, but also if you, frankly, if it's a medication that's not covered, then you have to pay out of your pocket.
Totally out of your pocket.
And then the same, and it's crazy because some of this medication a couple years ago, it didn't cost as much. These pharmaceuticals are just getting greedy and driving the price up. At this point, that's why we encourage people, look at those campaign finance reports and find out who's getting money from these pharmaceutical companies, because that will tell you why this continues, and why pharmaceutical companies that at one medication used to cost a certain price that was much affordable has now tripled.
Okay, and I can't let you leave. We still got. I'm gonna give you the floor before I go there. I can't let you leave without talking about right to work, because one of your incumbents is always out there with that right to work foolishness. I ain't gonna cuss on the show.
What? And you know, and it's crazy because people might not understand. Here's the thing: in Prince George's County, the reason why we have the county that we have is because of unions. A lot of the people who are working in this county are federal government employees, they're state and government employees, they're even county employees, and they're all unionized. And because they have unions advocating on their behalf to make sure that they get better pay, that's the reason why we can live comfortably in Prince George's County, and we have the richest African American community in the country. Is because of unions. Frankly, it really is. And what we're finding now is that as the whole anti-union campaign has ripped, what it has done is it's been for political purposes, but it's ripping us apart. My generation, generation before us had pensions. We got 401ks. We got 401ks with high with student loans that we have to pay. By the time we get 60, we won't have any money. So frankly, the idea of attacking unions is the wrong way to do things, because frankly, it's only going to destroy this country overall. And it's starting to destroy our communities. That's why people can't afford to live, because they're not making enough money.
Right. So Derek Davis, get a life. I'm sorry. Get a life with that right to work stuff. Get a life. Anywho. All right. So I want you to just go ahead and take the last, we got about 3 to 4 minutes left. I want you to go ahead and share if you have any upcoming events coming, how they can help you with fundraising, and what sets you apart from all the other candidates, and why people in Prince George's County deserve your vote.
I'm one of the few candidates in this race that are accountable to the people. We have raised close to $70,000 in this campaign from small donors. It's been people in this county giving us money because they can someone help me hear me? It's because people have been giving small donations to this campaign, because that's the way things are. You want a representative that's accountable to you. I'm not going to be accountable to any pharmaceutical company, any corporate interest, any business that has no interest in our county, because you have gotten me in. So I want you to go to our website, check out my background, my video about my family, about my life, and why I'm doing this is on there. It's www.wala, Blegay, BLEGAY.com. You're going to find not only the donate button where you can even donate from $1 to $20 to this campaign, you're going to find a video about the campaign. And frankly, I want you to call me. I want you to email me. My number is 240-681-9324. And what I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you what your interest is, what difference that you want to make. You can also contact me at 202-441-7650. Or you can email me, walla@wallablegay.com. I am open. I respond within 24 hours. We make sure that we're responsive to the people because I am grateful for all the support that I've gotten from the community, because my activism in the community has gone on for years, and people are saying we want a true advocate, and I will be a true advocate.
Hey, Jonathan, we're running out of time right now, but we did not get to address. He wanted to know if we addressed the issue of police blacktality being addressed. Can you take a few seconds?
Police what?
Police blacktality.
Okay. And so, can we expand on that? I just want to make sure I completely understand.
Jonathan, is that like racial profiling or something, Jonathan? You know what? I'm going to have her go on the website and she can respond back to it. You can explain what you mean by police blacktality so that we could talk about that.
And if this is about police accountability, now I worked on the ACLU on this where we made sure that police were accountable to the people. One of the things that we focus on is making sure that citizens were on the trial boards to make sure that when police are using excessive force on residents, really they need to be held fully accountable, and maybe the people that are reviewing them to make sure that they're not continuing their tenure as police officers should be the regular citizens. So we need regular people on trial boards, but frankly, we need to make sure that when a police uses excessive force on a resident, they're held fully accountable. And there's ways. The LEA board kind of blocks us because the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights does allow police to protect themselves in ways that I feel that one that goes and terrorizes the community should not be protected. So please watch who you vote for a state's attorney, because we also need to make sure that we counter that with a state's attorney that's willing to hold them accountable.
And it's a video, and I'm gonna close this out real quick. It's a video on my page that's a little bit shocking. That came from last Friday, I believe, is the date, where a young man. I didn't know that it was that in Prince George's County, if you leave your car window down, that gives the police a reason to be able to search your car for contraband. Just because you're sitting on a public street and your car window is down, this is what this police officer on video,
Who said that was?
Is a Prince George's County police officer that tells the young man, I was able to search your vehicle because your window was down in a public place for contraband. That's just crazy. That's all that needs to be done.
No, that's actually not true. So what a police can do is they have a plain view doctrine. Anything that's in plain view, he's allowed to search. But in order to actually open the car and search it, he needs a actual warrant.
He opened the car and searched it. But look, guys, this is the end of Hanging with Your Girl, Tasha. We will see you next Monday, and we are coming to you back to Charles County with Commissioner incumbent Amanda Stewart. District 3 will be here on Hanging with Your Girl, Tasha. So I'll see you next Monday, 5:30 p.m., same time. Thank you for coming in the studio, sweetheart. It's been wonderful.
Me. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Twist. It's a sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smile's a capture from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me? That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist.